Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So for the past 2 seasons, every time that we are halfway through the season, I do something called the halftime special, in which we talk about some of the theories that are still trending, and I also talk about some of the things I'm liking, and some of the things I dislike about the season. So first, we're going to talk about 2 things that I do enjoy about this season. One of the things I really love about this season is how it's kind of developed the Oni. I think the Oni are really interesting and very creepy villains, and I like the mystery that they have kind of developed. We don't really know why they want to conquer the realms or what they're really doing, but they just come and they suddenly take Ninjago City, and I think the way that they've been developed is really cool. We've gotten to see some more of their powers. They are great fighters, and they can also control shadows, and we've also been introduced to their supposed leader, who is the Omega Oni. And yeah, I really do like the Omega Oni. He is very creepy and very intimidating as well. So I do like him so far, except for his voice, of course. But I do like the mystery that has kind of been developed with the Oni so far. And I'm hoping that we can learn more about them in the coming episodes. And yeah, I do like what they've done with the Oni so far. One of the things I really wanted to see from this season is Garmadon's story being good. And you know what? I really think that they've done a great job with Garmadon's story so far. Pretty much, I think there is some foreshadowing that he could turn good, and I will talk about that later in this video. But I do like what they've done with Garmadon so far, kind of portraying him as evil and not really to be trusted, but he is helping the ninja at the same time. And I think there's been some great character development for Garmadon as well, such as when he challenges the Omega Oni to a fight in the last episode. I thought that was really cool, and that was done very well. And I like his relationship with Lloyd in the season as well, where Lloyd still doesn't really trust Garmadon, but it's not really a total enemy relationship. I do think that Garmadon's story is pretty good so far, and I'm looking forward to how the story will continue. So yeah, these are some things that I have liked about March of the Oni, and now for some things that I don't really like. While I'm fine with the Jay Nya plot itself, I don't really like how it's been focused on throughout the season. It's just kind of been there, and I feel like it was from the very beginning, from the SDC footage. It was very overhyped, and no offense to anyone, but I feel like the Ninjago producers tend to do this a lot, and that doesn't really help. Overhyping something, honestly, it just makes it feel worse in the end when it's really not worth all that hype. And I do feel like it's not really been focused on enough, this Jay Nya story, and it clearly is a subplot. And that's not what we had, been believing. We were thinking that this would be a pretty big story throughout the season and that they'd be the focus character and all of that kind of stuff. But no, that's not really happening. And I would like to see more emphasis on the Jay Nya story. Hopefully we'll see more of them in the next few episodes. Rather than, I don't want the story just to be Jay, about to ask Nya, and then he doesn't, and so on and so forth. I think some more development is needed. Another thing I'm not so fond of is the season length. I don't really understand why they wanted to give it 4 episodes instead of the normal 10. I really feel like 10 episodes would have been better for the Oni plot, given that the Oni have been developed to be really, really important villains, and I think they kind of deserve more. I feel like with this season length, there's not really that much time to get a lot done, and honestly, the Jay Nya arc subplot, I should say, shouldn't really be a thing in this season. And yeah, Garmadon, in this season, we're halfway through, and they still have some things to do, or at least some things that I would like to see. I'd like to see, personally, some Oni backstory, more development for Omega, Garmadon's conclusion, of course, more with the Jay Nya arc, and of course, Cole's story. And I highly doubt all of that is going to happen in these next 2 episodes. I think it's nice that they wanted to get it to 100 episodes and have the 100th episode be the season finale as well. But I don't think that's really good for, this kind of important season where the Oni are actually invading. These ancient villains, the most ancient villains in all of Ninjago, but they're only getting 4 episodes. And yeah, the episode 95 was really rushed as well, so, I didn't feel this way about episode 96, but I did think episode 95 was rushed. So this is just a little concern that I do have with the story so far, and what is going to come. So yeah, those are some things that I am kind of concerned about and that I don't really like about the season so far. Now we're going to take a look at some of the trending theories, and I'm going to share my take on them. So this has kind of been my theory for the last 2 seasons, but seeing as this is supposed to be the conclusion to Sons of Garmadon and Hunted as well, I do think that this is definitely more likely for this season, and my theory here is that Garmadon will turn good. So I feel like Garmadon's story will be finished in this season, whether he turns good or dies, but I think there has been more foreshadowing to hint at him actually turning good in this last episode, with him saving Lloyd at one point and actually looking at an image of his old self. I think that is kind of foreshadowing that he could turn good, and there was more of that in Hunted as well, with him hesitating to destroy Lloyd. So I do think that there is a possibility that he could turn good for those reasons, and yeah, I also hope this happens as well. I'd love to see more of Sensei Garmadon, and I don't really think they'd do him justice if they just kept him alive like Pythor as a villain, and he just returned now and then. I think that would become incredibly repetitive, and it is time for the second antagonist phase of Garmadon to end, I think. So I do think that Nya will accept Jay's proposal by the, I mean, quote-unquote proposal, it's not a real proposal, by the end of the season. And I also am hoping and think that we will get more info and more focus on this story in episode 97. Tommy Andreessen did say that was his favorite episode, and also, quote-unquote, one ninja will let go of his love. So I do think that this will probably happen in episode 97, and we'll see more of this story. And yeah, if Nya doesn't really accept Jay's proposal, I do think it is somewhat likely that this story actually could continue into season 11. And I'm not gonna lie, actually, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I do think that Nya would probably accept Jay's proposal by the end of the season. I don't really see what they'd do to the story or what else it would accomplish if she really didn't, unless, of course, it does continue into season 11. I do also think that the Oni arc will conclude by the end of this season. It has really been in development since season 8, and I think it is probably time for it to end. And I think the writers realize this as well. It is considered to be a 24-episode arc, of course, season 8, season 9, season 10. So, of course, the Oni are really the main focus of that arc in some way. And I do think that their story will end with them being defeated by the end of the season somehow. And Garmadon could play a role in this. Definitely, he could play a major role. And maybe this could also lead to his purification, somehow. And that would be pretty cool, actually, to see Garmadon get purified along with the Oni defeat. But yeah, I do think that the Oni will be defeated somehow and they'll be erased from existence or something by the end of this season. At this point, this isn't really a theory, but just more of common sense. A lot of people were speculating the turn of a ninja to the evil side throughout the season. That was one of the leading theories from the very beginning, actually, when we first got that yin-yang symbol. A lot of people were expecting Jay to turn evil. And yeah, so seeing as the season has been released, Jay is clearly not a real focus of the season as we had been thinking him to be. And that's really just a subplot. And I don't really think that any of them are going to turn evil. And yeah, so there's just not really enough time to pull this off exactly. I mean, the Oni arc is really front and center here. Just the Oni invading Ninjago and trying to get rid of them. That is really front and center here. I don't really think that any of the ninja will be involved in this Oni plot somehow. I mean, by the Oni, actually. I don't really think that they will be turned evil or anything like that will actually happen. And again, that is more common logic at this point. Nothing really has happened yet, and I don't think one episode would really be enough to happen. Would really be enough to pull something like that off. Of course, we do know that something is probably going to happen to Cole in the next episode, but actually, who knows? I mean, seeing as how that gigantic fight with Garmadon turned out to be nothing, who knows? Maybe the whole thing with Cole falling could really just be nothing as well. But yeah, I do not think that any of the ninja will turn evil in this season. And that is the halftime special for Season 10, March of the Oni. These are just some of my thoughts on the season so far, and some of my thoughts on some of the trending theories as well. Let me know what you guys have thought of the season so far. Be sure to list some of the stuff that you've liked and disliked and all of that kind of stuff, as well as what you guys think is going to happen in the next few episodes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone ever you know, and throughout the week, of course, we'll be talking more about March of the Oni as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.